welcome back to episode 3 or 4 of the podcast. I can't
4.5.
remember now. We record them all in the same day.
It's been a while,
it all
though.
just kind of comes up onto each other.
It's been a while, though, since we've been
It's
back
been
in
a
the
while
recording
since
room.
we've back in the recording
I've grown long, luscious hair.
Yeah.
We have a new person here that we get to
Yeah, he
portray.
joined WreckCon. He actually just got into GT. He's a freshman.
Yes.
How are you doing, Ethan?
I'm doing very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Tell us a little about yourself. What's your name, major, year?
Security.
Maybe. Hey, my name's Ethan Radulski. I'm a fourth year chemical engineering student here at Tech, and I am one of the co-founders of Dungeons and Dragons Club here at Tech.
Hey, not even a co-founder. Don't humble yourself, man. He's the current president too.
And that.
He runs D&D Club as it goes right now.
And as far as I know, I think everyone here plays D&D that's currently on the podcast.
And everyone that's watching. That's
everyone
has played D&D before.
The collective D&D of life.
But as far as I understand, Ethan, although you were the co-founder of D&D, you weren't the first D&D club.
No, I was not.
What? There's a different D&D club?
Dude, there's like 2, man.
What?
It's crazy.
What?
Yeah, get into it, Ethan. Get into it.
Why?
So
Why?
freshman year, I started looking for D&D club because I figured it's a tech school. We gotta have a D&D
Yeah,
club.
we gotta have D&D.
There wasn't one. So I did some backtracking through Engage, and there was a club that fell through the year before I got here.
Okay.
And the way Georgia Tech works is you get 1 year of being temporarily gone, and you can pick it back up.
Okay.
So they had the Hilton in place, and I found one of the guys who was running it, and he sent me over the documentation for it, the access codes for all their
When
files.
was this? What year was this?
This was freshman year.
Okay.
Well, like
So
for
it would have been
their
what
Google
year?
Drive, like all their important documents.
Well, like what year would have that been for you? Because I honestly don't know what year you are.
Fourth year, so 2020.
Oh, that was right after COVID?
During COVID.
During COVID.
I was here during COVID.
Wow.
That was not fun. But yeah, got that
Wait, aren't you
kicking.
also 4th year?
Yeah,
Trey? So
yeah.
you should, yeah.
I don't know. The timeline's murky, dude.
yeah. I'm sorry.
But yeah.
Continue, yeah.
So after they gave me the access, and you're able to re-put in. So instead of going through the very long process of getting a registered club, we just took the skeleton of a fully formed club and restructured it.
Yeah.
So there isn't necessarily 2 D&D clubs.
Yeah, there's just one.
Okay.
But, it's a little.
I was like, what are the logistics of that? Like, do you poach members off of each other at times?
Yeah.
I thought
All the time.
they're currently running.
Yeah. We got 2 D&D clubs, and they're just 2 groups.
Like, how did we decide? How did we decide what D&D group to go with for RecCon? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, speaking of D&D at RecCon, were you at all like part of that? Like, did you help organize or do some like DMing day of RecCon?
Not for the last one. I helped more on the Magic the Gathering side last time, but this year I'm looking forward to helping with D&D a lot more.
Heck yeah.
Well, speaking about Magic, you don't even do just D&D. You do Magic and Warhammer. Is that right?
Yep, Warhammer, newly founded club this semester. If you don't know it, look for it. It's awesome. And Magic. After I founded D&D, my good friend Jeremy, he didn't know it was that easy to make a club, so he put in the paperwork that semester as well, and got Magic the Gathering Club founded. And now I help him run it.
Sounds like you just happen to be around the formation of most clubs.
I know, it's pretty cool.
Also RecCon, which is
Also
strange now that I'm thinking about.
No, the people on RecCon, there's such a high concentration of people that have just like started clubs.
That's strange.
And we got Jeremy.
We made a
you
club.
Started like 3 clubs? Or I guess you didn't. Did you start Warhammer?
No, they beat me by a week.
Nice. Okay, so you would have gone there at the end.
Yes.
Nice. Well, I want to ask, do you know how long the previous D&D club lasted before
the turmoil?
Yeah, the turmoil.
The collapse.
Turmoil.
The collapse.
Collapse of COVID.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they just dropped during COVID semester. The guy, as far as I can tell, the guy's very busy. He works somewhere over on the West Coast, but not that much communication. But I know they were there for at least 2 years. That's as far back as I know.
Yeah, because
I was expecting longer.
I was gonna say we beat them, for D&D club.
Yes.
We got him. Let's go.
New record or whatever.
Yeah, new record.
I think it'd be longer. Like I thought it would be like way back.
Well, I think it is. I mean, when we talked about VG Dev on a previous episode, you should check that out.
Check
Allison
that
and
out,
Jeremy.
if it's out by now.
I think there's a lot of similar things there, and that VG Dev also went through a lot during the COVID years.
I think COVID really screwed a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it screwed a ton of things, and also, I mean, I think it's reasonable because D&D, at least for me, of course, online D&D, I think is becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
But for me, I vastly prefer in-person playing.
No, 100%. That is like
Yes.
the way to play, because like you
And
get
so,
like
yeah.
the physical body in it.
No,
and,
no,
like,
and it's like I like wave my hands around a ton.
Yeah, I know, like, you
so like when
make-
I'm DMing, like it's so weird, like going over Discord call.
like
and I
when
can't
you're
see
like
what
playing
what
like an
my weird
old
facial
hermit, you're like,
expression.
oh,
Yeah.
young man.
Exactly.
Like,
That's
And
half the
then,
fun.
Now you have
that,
like a little screen.
if
Yeah.
you do that over like a
Okay,
Discord
this is
call,
not to rag
like,
on anybody that has found it more convenient or better to run online sessions. I think the internet is an incredible thing, and running online sessions can really open up, a lot of people to D&D. I think just me personally,
I have mixed feelings about Roll20.
Really?
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, but Roll20 is a different thing. Cause
What do you mean? How's
There's
it
like
any
there's like
different?
online D&D, and then there's like one D&D, and like Roll20 and stuff like that.
Okay.
I haven't done
Which
that
is,
much
like,
research into one D&D.
Okay, so basically it's like, I actually am kind of a one D&D apologist. I'm not. I don't think it's that bad. I think a lot of people they crap on one D&D. They're like one D&D. So basically, like if it's more like it's trying to take the D&D. So D&D is run by a company called Wizards of the Coast, and very recently they tried to take some, you might say, protective measures.
Intellectual property.
Yeah, on their IP, on D&D and stuff like that. So it's just like. Because D&D, again, like, in its essence, it's just like a bunch of people, like, sitting around a table, like, rolling dice.
Yeah.
We've got the dice here as a, to demonstrate.
You make it seem so simple, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's really not, but
Yeah.
whatever.
But, like, I think there has been, like, a movement of making it more kind of like a video game, if that makes sense. Or more like
Are you saying, like, with this next edition that's coming out? The 6th one?
Yeah, I mean, stuff like moving to, like, a more online
I gotcha.
format. And kind of making it more like a video game instead of like a more open thing.
Well, I'm
And
glad.
I think there's pros and cons to
Well, I'm
that.
glad
I don't think
we have you here to interview you here today.
I mean, I don't know that much. I'm not super well read. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, I honestly like, we were saying earlier like our through line is D&D. But I literally I haven't played D&D like Dungeons and
Really?
Dragons for a while.
Dude, I have a session tonight.
You have a session?
It's
I have
the
a
first
game
one
tonight.
too.
I just lied because I DM'd a session 2 days ago.
What the heck?
2 days from when we're recording, which was a Wednesday.
Okay.
How
No,
do you
I
just
DM'd.
forget?
No.
What a
But
DM.
before that, I hadn't played D&D in a year and a half, 2 years almost.
Dude, I gotta get you in a game sometime.
No. Oh, sorry, not played. DM'd. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
No, you
playing.
play,
I'm playing a
yeah.
long-standing D&D campaign.
It's a lot
I haven't
easier,
DM'd D&D,
workload-wise.
Yeah.
You just show up.
Yeah.
That's literally that.
No, but I've been moving. I've been kind of I think I've been moving more recently towards like a bunch of more lightweight systems.
Yeah.
Was it
Wait,
called
what do
like
you mean?
Morkborg?
Yeah, there's a system called Morkborg. It's Gothic horror. You should check it out.
What is Morkborg? Just give a little.
One page.
One page?
Have you ever been playing D&D? It's not one page. It's like 30 pages, but it's
Have I
Oh,
ever
sorry.
been playing D&D? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever been playing D&D and wondered, hey, this is great and all, but I wish whenever I cast a spell, my skin would melt and my eyes would fall out.
Yeah. All the time.
Well, now you can.
Wow.
With Morkborg.
This sounds like an advertisement. This is definitely not.
It's so good. It's one of the most incredible systems you'll ever play, in my opinion. It's
But like
pretty
that,
interesting.
so you fire a spell and your skin falls off.
Yeah,
and
this
that's
can
it.
happen. No, that was just. It's because it's like inspired by Gothic horror. It's a Swedish
Okay.
system, if I'm not wrong.
So like things could go wrong.
Yeah, things can go wrong. It's very.
Magic's like very dangerous.
Yeah, magic is
potentially.
dangerous. It's
Okay.
very dangerous. Your starting weapon in Morkborg is a femur. That is like your base weapon that you start off with.
Gotcha. Like that's just standard across all characters.
It's not standard. It's like if you don't have anything else,
You get a
have
femur.
a femur. You
All
have
right.
a femur. Of course, you can
When in
have,
doubt,
you can have
you
bigger
have a
great swords, but
femur.
when in doubt, you have a femur, and this is what you're using as a weapon.
Not your own femur though.
Yeah.
Somebody else's femur.
That's
Like
not
y'all.
established. It could be your femur.
I guess it could be. Don't we all have our own?
It could be your
femurs?
femur. That'd actually be an interesting game.
A good
Use your own
mechanic.
body part.
Use your own.
You pull out your femur, and then you use that to.
It's just unarmed strike.
Making
There you go.
notes.
Unarmed strike with the femur. So if you don't know, yeah, in D&D you can make unarmed strikes.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're using
Wow,
your
really
own
explain
femur,
that, huh?
Huh.
if you're using your own femur, does that count as using a weapon?
I've never had to think about that before.
This is now you play
Oh,
Morkborg, and now you will.
Now you can answer these questions
yeah,
at the
yeah.
discretion of your own DM.
Yeah.
Not us.
But I mean, I think there's definitely just talking more broadly about D&D as a subject. I think there's not two camps, but there's two directions people can go, in which you enjoy like dungeon crawling and combat.
Yeah,
and that
it's
kind
the
of stuff.
fighting with the role playing.
Yeah, and it's role play.
Honestly though, I'm kind of split in the middle. Like I appreciate
I
a lot
think
of fighting.
I think a good
I
D&D
appreciate a lot of role playing, some good
No,
voice.
absolutely. I mean, I think a good DM and also a good campaign has parts of both, like in every session.
Yeah.
Of course, some sessions will be more combat heavy, some will be more role play heavy.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it's catering to your your players' wants and needs.
Well, it's different for everyone. Like, how would you find that balance?
Whenever I have a one-shot or like a longer-standing campaign that I do, I try to get info from other players beforehand. Like, hey, what do you want out of this?
Like
do you
fighting, talking, or like what the setting would be? Or,
Yeah, like when I ran Curse of Strahd, there are two main ways to do it. Like you're fighting a vampire lord, or you're trying to political. I'm sorry for anyone who has not played Curse of Strahd.
Hey, if you haven't played Curse of Strahd, I'm DMing it tonight. My pleasure. Go ahead.
What was I saying?
I don't.
Curse of Strahd. There's two ways to go about it.
Yeah, that's
Political,
right.
or you fight a vampire lord.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some players want to try and political Strahd. That it might work. I'm not going to say it won't, but it might work.
You know, I think this also connects to a question I've been DMing for a while now. But
How long?
something.
How long we talking?
Well, I first started DMing.
Let's compare,
in
actually.
in my
All right, let's-
sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
I
So
played
how long
D&D
ago
before
was
that, but I only actually started DMing
Wait, sophomore year of
high school. Yes.
So that would have been 6 years ago.
Yes, 6 years ago.
Wait, what about you?
Same, sophomore year.
Or 6 or
But
7
I
years ago.
never played before that day, so 6 years like on the dot for me.
No, I was
I've
not-
been DMing
yeah.
since I was 13.
Wow,
That's 10 years.
nice.
I cannot be one of those guys that claim like, yeah, I was the guy that like brought my friends into D&D. I did not do that.
No, I
It
wouldn't
was-
say that.
Yeah, it was one of my friends. He was the one that was like, guys, there's this cool thing.
There's
and
this cool new
we've
thing.
got to try this out. And I was like, hey, what the hell? Let's give it a go.
And years
we
later,
did,
your
and
wallet
years
regretted
later,
it
and now
as you
I-
spend
yeah,
more
and
and
now
more
I
money
help,
on dice.
now I help run. Yeah, now I've spent like
Millions.
millions,
Imagine your net
trillions
worth.
of dollars.
Imagine your net worth in
Yeah,
dice,
just
though.
in dice.
Yeah.
It's millions of dollars, man. And here I am. 6
Truly a
years later.
tradable
I was
asset.
like 8 years later since I first
You have to
started.
corner the dice market,
Yeah, yeah.
okay?
Many have tried, but I believe in you.
Yeah, I'll go into Shark Tank, and then my entire pool would just be like, yeah, I have a lot of dice. It's my entire.
Just trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, I just
a
have
lot.
dice. You got Mr. Wonderful, like $1 million.
I don't
for
understand
all
the
of your
dice thing. I really do not get it.
What?
Like-
The dice?
Well,
like
I think it's just like
collecting
a
them.
prop. I mean, it's like any other collectible.
Yeah,
It's
but like,
I mean-
once you got enough, like,
What do
you're
you?
good.
Okay, what do you mean enough?
yeah. What do you mean
That's
enough?
Like,
Great question.
I would say like 3 sets is probably good in case you have to like roll
Eh,
3d6
okay,
or
but
something.
here's the thing, right?
Mm.
So
Maybe 40
in D&D, many things like eventually start stacking up as far as dice goes.
Sure.
So like I don't remember how much damage is a fireball. Do you know off the top of your head, Ethan?
5d6?
5d6.
Maybe 66.
Yeah,
Wow.
and this is like cast at spell level. So okay, some number of d6s. Let's say 5d6. So you could get like have your 1d6 and roll it 5 times.
That's not fun
But
though.
nobody wants to do that. I want to have like 7 dice in my hand and like roll them, because it's gonna be like 7 or 8, because you have like all these random things that add like damage modifiers, and there's all these different types of dice, and then you roll them, and then
You
like
just, like-
you like count them, and
yeah.
it's so exciting.
I don't know. I find it easier to be able to count
I don't
manually versus like, okay, this one's like a 4.
Yeah, but
And
it's
that's
so fun.
that's nothing physical has over virtual. You get the
That's
actual
true.
physical
You
dice you get to
the
roll
dice
all over
roll.
the place.
That's
That's
a good point.
true.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You get physical dice. I mean, another thing is just physicality. So
Physicality just
I
makes
guess
things better.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll get into this, but how y'all run dungeons? I am a pretty free form kind of DM in that like I usually like a lot of times that I'm DMing, I like don't have like very very preset maps or very like
Yeah,
very
I know you're right.
very set map, which has been like a a good and a bad thing in many circumstances. So
Wait, just so we know, I know you're on the same page. Are you saying like you have a goal in this dungeon, but you don't exactly have like a room map layout?
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
kind of improvising
yeah.
that as
So
you go. Okay,
this
I've done
this
that
happened
before.
this happened recently in a D&D campaign, and if y'all were in that session I ran a few days ago, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to call you out or anything. So how I usually plan my dungeons is there was this I don't remember which DM, but a very very famous DM. I don't remember.
Matt Mercer?
It was not. I don't remember who it was, but they came up with like you're improvising a dungeon crawl, and the rules are like, okay, you need like what the thing is you need 3 different hooks, and then for each hook you want to plan like a goal, a puzzle, some combat encounter.
I
and then,
find
like,
it
some
incredibly
interesting
hard to
geography,
make
right?
puzzles by myself, though. That's something that I've
So
always.
I have like I don't improv puzzles ever. I have like a list of like general puzzle ideas.
puzzles.
And puzzle ideas.
Puzzles ideas.
I have like a very long list of like general puzzle ideas, and then like if like the situation arises that like okay this would be cool, I like bust it out and I throw it in there.
Bust it out.
So like one puzzle idea I used recently, not in this last session, but a few months ago I ran a one shot. Was like they were in this like this dungeon, classic dungeon. They were dungeon crawling and what, but they were being chased by like. Shoot, I don't remember the name of like a
not really important.
Tarrasque
for all we know, Tarrasque.
A
And
Tarrasque.
so what happened was they came like to this big door, right? And this big door had like there were 5 players, so it had like 5 like places for them to put their hand into, right?
Right.
And they were being chased, so
What do we do?
presumably they put their hands.
Yeah,
in, right?
no, see,
Yeah.
okay, you cannot guess what your player's gonna
Exactly.
do. This is the problem with
Exactly.
puzzles. Because,
So-
like, I will make something like a hangman.
Yeah,
and they'll be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what does it mean?
Yeah.
What could it be? And it's like, magic missile or something.
Yeah.
And then, like, M's here and M's here, and there's, like, S's
Yeah.
already. Like, we have to write one letter.
Yeah.
This could kill
Okay,
us.
to
This
be
could
fair-
absolutely kill us.
To be fair, this wasn't much of a puzzle. It was just like an interesting combat thing.
Yeah, but like, still.
But they ran up to the door, and then they had nothing else to do because they were being chased, so they stuck their hands in the thing, and then it clamped their hands down, and then now they had to fight one-handed. Like, that was the encounter.
Wow.
And so it was like that idea was not something I had prepped for that dungeon.
You
It
just
was
thought
like,
of it.
oh wait, this would be cool.
Oh, I do that all
because
the
like I
time.
can force them
I
into
do
this
that all the time.
situation.
Yeah.
And then once they do that, like they necessarily have to adapt.
But like, there's some problems with that too. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I probably should not have done that.
When you've written yourself
Yeah.
into a corner.
Yeah, when you
Yep.
write yourself in a corner, it's a
But
problem.
I think one of like the one thing I learned a few years ago that like I think changed how I DM is like I am much more open and like comfortable with like writing my players into a corner of which I have no plan out. Like I will write them into
This
like
could go
That's
so
not
bad.
your job. That's their job.
That's
This is
so
true. But like,
but
you
like-
could just end up
Cause,
TPKing.
okay,
Yes.
but no, here's the thing, right? So I think
Keep
that
writing.
when puzzles or when sessions are written with like, you have an obstacle and there's not really a set way to get past that obstacle, what happens is players come up with their own like expectations
Sometimes I've
and
seen players
interpretations
really
of
go
like,
crazy with
of like what they think would be an interesting or a cool thing to solve this puzzle. So like you give them a door, they don't know how to get through the door. But then a player's like, oh, it would be really sick if this was how we got through the door.
I've
And then
heard
what
this
you do-
exact like
what you do
train of thought. It'd
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
really
exactly.
cool if I could.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And what you do is, since you already don't have a solution, you can play
You could
to
just
that
like, you're just like,
expectation.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like a
exactly.
cool idea.
You-
I'm not going to tell you that is
Yeah,
the
and
solution.
then you,
now it
you,
just
can,
is.
you can shape it a little bit so that like it's not exactly the player's idea.
But it's-
then when
it's
it
basically
happens, they're
that.
like, wow, I'm smart. Or
This
like,
sounds
wow,
like
that's
pandering,
really
though. This sounds like
But
pandering.
it works. And you don't have to, obviously, you don't have to reward like
What a cop-out.
every stupid idea that players come up with.
They'll
Like,
have many.
Yeah, they will have many. You don't have to reward every single one, but it's like a little spoon feed them, and then eventually you give them like a big reward. I don't know. That's kind of my idea, and it works for some. It doesn't work for others. It definitely like if you.
Yeah.
I will say I don't think my specific DMing style works if like you haven't like bought into like the existence of D&D like as a game, if that makes sense. So like. I don't think I DM well for people who like metagame.
Oh, yeah.
is- that's
People
what I
who
mean.
min-max,
Yeah.
honestly, oh my god, it ruins the game.
Okay, I don't have a problem with
I
people who
kind of
min-max.
just hate it,
'Cause,
unless
like,
you're
yeah,
running
yeah,
like
yeah.
a one-shot where it's like
Yeah.
a battle arena or something.
So,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
I actually-
but like
yeah.
the min-maxing like main campaign,
Yeah. Okay, I don't
Why?
actually
Why would you
mind about
do
like
that?
min-maxing.
it's
like,
so
a campaign.
boring.
Especially because like some of the min-max like D&D builds can go like so crazy.
They can, but like
600 feet, one turn. Hey Parker, how you doing today, buddy?
You have to explain
Yeah,
the joke
yeah.
now.
When you-
So there's some. So Tabaxi, you get that thing where you can like double your move speed for
Actually,
one
the
turn.
race,
We have to explain this like people have never seen.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So Tabaxi, a race in D&D. Basically, they have an ability you can move twice as far as physically possible once. There's spells that can double your movement speed.
It feels like it
There's
just
probably
add.
a
Just,
feed.
you can just add.
Right.
Yeah, teleport,
And just
distance
like-
stab, whatnot, so forth.
When you do the math of it, it comes down to basically it's just one dude running 700, 800 feet in 6 seconds. And his whole thing was he was just running around the building repeatedly, building up momentum to shoulder check this guy. And he died because that's a lot of momentum for one little
Well, I thought
person.
acceleration. I think wouldn't acceleration.
We're not doing
be fixed?
physics.
Related-
Okay, we're not
Have you
do-
all seen? Have you all seen the? Was it the? I forget what it's called, like the villager cannon or like the NPC cannon.
Where they all just shove each other 5 feet forward.
No. It's they're holding something, and what they do is they pass it, and because like I'm thinking passing is a bonus action.
Right.
So if each villager takes on their turn, right? Then each turn is like 6 seconds, right?
Right.
So if you have like a line of
Oh.
30 NPCs and they're all using bonus action to pass the thing, then like it has to go like 50 feet in like 6 seconds. So just
It's a railgun.
It's a railgun. Yeah. I forget the name of it.
I've never heard of that.
It's like a villager railgun or something. I don't remember what
Yeah.
it's called.
That's amazing.
And I might have gotten the mechanics wrong. I'm not
No,
super
you're probably
well.
right. You're probably right.
I don't know if it's a bonus action or if it's just a free action or something.
Well, it depends on the range of like the arena then at that point, right? Because like 6 seconds of combat depends on who we're in combat with.
Yeah, yeah.
So like not every villager from here to like Asia would be like in combat necessarily with like something that's like 20 feet long.
It's called
That's
the Peasant Railgun.
The peasant railgun. Thank you.
The Peasant Railgun.
I forgot about this.
There's been physics done on this for
Yeah.
sure.
So obviously with D&D rules as written, it doesn't work. Because I'm pretty sure like objects that are accelerated within one turn don't do damage. I think. I don't know. There's probably like
Accelerated within one turn.
I don't know. There's something behind it. I'm not super. Any of you like actual like people that know D&D, everything I say, you're probably like cringing like.
Not us. We have no idea how
I want
D&D
to know how
works.
many villagers it take to like launch something into
How many
orbit.
peasants you mean?
It's peasants.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, internet. Let's
I
get
could
on that.
figure it
He's
out.
an- yeah, he's
no,
an
I could
aerospace
figure
guy.
it out.
I mean, if you're
That's
thinking
literally
about
your
escape
major.
velocity-
Yeah, it's my major.
Well, if
All
you're
I
thinking
do
about
is
escape
vehicle
velocity,
if I don't take air drag into account, 'cause
Yeah.
that's the main
No,
proponent.
Okay.
We're theoretical school. We don't. Yeah. Assume.
No, I could do it.
Assume spherical.
I'm gonna
peasants.
edit this video and I'm gonna put it up there. I'll figure it out.
All right, so what are you calculating
Assume-
exactly?
First one, I assume completely spherical peasant. Also width of 0, infinitesimal width, and infinite.
The peasants don't matter. I just need to know how many there is.
Yeah, yeah.
And they take up 5 feet each somehow, but whatever.
Yeah. No, that's fine, man.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll
yeah,
figure
you'll
it out.
figure
Please
It'll
do.
be- It'll be in this
Peasant-
video.
Alright,
I
I'm
think
looking forward to
somebody has definitely already done the math for peasant
Probably.
railgun. I
Probably.
think it's like a. Is a
It's probably like a Reddit post somewhere.
No, yeah, I think it started off as like a Tumblr thing, but I may be wrong.
Oh.
It's- I wanted to ask you. So, I mean, we were talking about like, oh, you have to like play to the players, like what they are interested in. Like you saying that you ask players beforehand, like, okay, what kind of session are they looking for? Like, what are they
Right.
trying to get into? What happens if players disagree?
If players disagree, well, that's
Well, like in like session or
No, as in like. So
one
let's
wants
say-
role playing, one wants
So-
like
so
high
let's say-
combat.
Let's
I
say you
see,
have
I
a
get you,
player
I get
who
what
is
you're
like, who's really not comfortable with role play, who's like, I'm
I've
more
had
comfortable
this
with like dungeon
situation.
crawling numbers kind of game. And then you have a player that's like, I'm not really interested in the numbers. They kind of bore me. I like, interacting with the NPCs and whatnot. How do you
Go
handle
ahead.
that?
If it's so, disagree. Player A wants high combat for the day. Player B wants that sweet political intrigue. Can't make both of them happy at once unless you're like really good. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it.
Me neither.
So whenever you want both of them to have different things, you need to make them understand that some of the session will be this and some of it will be that. Because if everyone wants the same thing, that's the easiest session you've ever prepped because it's only going to be that one thing. But for every player that wants something different, you have to add a little bit of that into
And
the
by
overall
way,
story.
You will never have a session where every player wants the same
Now,
thing.
No,
You'll
I've
have
I've
that.
never
her
had that.
solution.
Yeah.
We split the party.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
One player talks to Strahd alone in the castle. The rest of them try to assault it, and that's the story.
So also, okay, another solution. I think this is maybe a more reasonable solution. A more reasonable solution. You DM something that nobody is interested in, and therefore everybody's
Exactly.
equally disappointed.
disappointed.
There you go.
My God, you solved it. That's it. We're there.
We've reached perfect DMing.
The
Not
levels of
caring about
free
your
DMs.
players.
But so I go into it. You're saying that some of it will be this, some of it will be that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a give and
Yeah,
take.
yeah,
There
it
always
is a give and
is.
take.
There always is with DM.
There
I mean, you
always
can't
is.
make every session perfect, but like you can get towards it. for
I think
sure.
another thing I've learned is also like the importance of like giving players. Of course, you're a party, and like first you're like a band of explorers like helping each other. But like I have learned, it's very important to like give players each their like.
Well,
Their moment to shine.
Moments,
honestly though, back on the subject of you have one player that like likes fighting and you got one player who likes like role playing. I've found that like people that are like that, and this isn't true for everyone, but I've found that people that like kind of aspire to do one thing haven't really ever interacted
That's
with the
true.
opposite thing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, I only know this.
I know a lot of
Screw
combat
that.
heads.
I've pushed
Yeah.
so many players to be like, it's really role play that people have an issue with.
Yes.
Well,
What
I would actually disagree with that.
Really?
Really?
On a broader front, yeah. So I think that especially for newer players, when they get into D&D and they see the player sheet, they see all the numbers on there. They see like,
Okay,
oh my god, I have
that's
to look
fair.
at like you're playing.
But once
a
you
wizard.
have it, you're good.
Yeah, but imagine like you're playing a cleric and you're rolling through the spell list and you're like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, what is this?
Then that's just player generation at that point.
Well, no, but I think it's also like during combat, because like I think especially at higher level combat, you kind of have like this like choice. What's it called?
Yeah.
You're bombarded with choices, and it's like, man, I don't know what to do. Like these numbers, like I don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, when you get to like level 13, you should have it by then.
Yeah, that's true.
But-
But like,
right?
I think I've met a lot of people who are just like, yeah, I've always wanted to just like, I just want to do like kooky stuff in like a, in like a like I want to, like the dwarf guy who runs the shop. I want to like, I want to talk with this guy. I want to like get to know him.
I want to know his family. I want to eat dinner with his
I
family.
want to eat dinner with him.
I-
I have had so many sessions where like I have just had to like improv like the randomest NPC.
Okay, but like more on the point,
Yeah.
I have found that people who like fighting but dislike roleplay
Yeah.
just have not interacted with it in any shape and form.
Like a lot of the
And
players I've had have
Yeah.
been like very socially awkward, and
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
had trouble getting into roleplay.
because it's like it makes them feel awkward.
Yeah.
But like we're all doing it,
Yeah.
So is it
one
really
thing.
that
Yeah, one
awkward?
thing I've also learned is like, so okay.
I get it.
My accents are horrendous. My voices are absolutely like unbelievably terrible. Like I try to Goblin Voice. I'm like I'm a Goblin. They're,
That's
like, they're
that's
so
good.
bad.
No,
Let me,
that's-
hear, let me hear an old man voice. Can you improvise some
Hello,
voice?
I'm a normal man.
I said
Okay,
old
that-
man.
Oh, old man. Hello, my young adventurers.
Oh.
Yes, I'm a seer, and I've come to give you a quest.
Okay,
Kinda
that's
kidding.
a voice.
By the way, I'm gonna ask y'all to do voices later.
Okay.
But
Great.
one thing I was saying is
I
that
got
like
this.
one thing that I've learned is that especially if you're playing with players who, for example, so we're part of D&D Club, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so where like if you're DMing just for your friends or you're DMing with like a group of people that like you've known for a while, I think there's way less of that because like you're already all comfortable with each other and you've done like you're all like
You're more
weird.
open.
But
Yeah.
when you're like part of a club, for example, and you're DMing from people who you have like who don't know each other, and you have a session with 6 people who are like complete strangers, then it's like
You're not gonna role
way
play
more
that.
reluctant to like.
Yeah.
But then what you do is as a DM, like I think you have to set the tone.
Yeah,
You need an icebreaker.
Yeah,
You
like
have
when
to.
I roll up to the session, and then the first thing that they hear is like like then
You're
players
just
are
like,
immediately
yeah,
like
they're just
players
like,
are
their
immediately
whole
okay,
glass dome
yeah,
is shattered.
I can be weird, I can be a little weird.
You can get other people to be
and
weird, too.
of
There you
course
go.
you kind of have to probe the players. You have to kind of bring it out of them a little bit. But like that's
What say you, traveler?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Like,
pretty good.
You're just
Tell
like,
me about your strange sword over there. Where did you find it from? Like, what are the inscriptions? What are they?
what does the ancient text have to say about that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. And even if it's just
going.
like they don't have to do kooky voices, of course. They, like as long as they talk in their normal voice, as long as they're talking, I think it's
Yeah.
it works totally fine. But if you.
But then again, I have had players where I'm like, I throw that out, and they're just like, well, then I say, blah blah.
The
blah,
deadpan?
Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, this kind of has to tie into a little bit of my point with. I think also new people like when they're not introduced into D&D, like when they don't know exactly what it is, then like I think it can be a little confusing. Like, okay, what am I meant?
Yeah,
what am I
it's a
meant to be
lot all
doing
at
here?
once for
Yeah,
sure.
like-
Like
like-
every person I've ever talked to D&D about doesn't just immediately get
Yeah, exactly,
it. It's
yeah.
never that easy.
Yeah, like I was so we were tabling for D&D. I was tabling at one of the org fairs for D&D.
Yeah.
And like a guy walked up to me and he was like, okay, so like D&D, right? And I was talking to him like, oh, a DM, like a dungeon master creates this world and players playing it. And he's like, okay, yeah, but like what am I doing? Like what am I supposed to be doing here?
What do you want to do?
And like it's hard to because like
It's
I
hard
can
to
feel like,
articulate
like
that.
it is a world that you can like explore. Like it
And
is
there's
like,
rules.
It is the most like free. Of course there are rules, but
There's
like
rules.
it's supposed to be free. And he was like, okay, so like what? I'm just like exploring. So like I
It
think
depends.
It's, yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
it really does
Like, it really
depend.
depends on like what your goal is. But
There's
yeah,
so many
yeah.
different.
It shouldn't be as
campaigns.
hard as it is to sell D&D because it is so
Yeah.
good, but it's just so hard to pin any
It's-
one
yeah,
It's
thing
because
down.
it
So
can be so
abstract,
creative, and
It's
you
so-
can
it's
just
very
kind of do
abstract.
whatever with it. I mean, we were talking before the podcast about like crazy ideas with like D&D campaigns, and I was talking about like this Warhammer campaign that I made like years ago, and Ethan was like, "How did that work?" So I explained the like breakdown, and like you
It sounded
you
interesting.
can just
Sound pretty cool.
use like different IPs and put it into D&D.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's how
No,
crazy creative it can
Okay,
get.
none of my D&D campaigns, nothing I've ever run is original. Not a single. I don't have
Nah, same.
original thought. It's all
Wait,
like
hold on,
Same.
hold on. I'm sorry. I thought you meant it is all original.
no, it's
No.
not original. All of my campaigns are like quilt, like hodgepodge, like terribly sewn together things
From
like
other
every piece of media that I've ever encountered in my life. And then like I'm like, okay, that NPC, that is cool. I'm gonna rip him and I'm gonna throw him here. This is what I'm.
What
I
happens
respect
when
you for
somebody
getting it because
recognizes the
everyone
reference?
does that.
Yeah.
What happens when somebody? I don't do that. What
No?
happens when
Oh.
somebody like recognizes the reference?
It's cool.
Then they're
A
like, I
player
figured it
is
out.
like,
They get-
wait,
they
this
get-
NPC. This reminds me from like this game I played. That's cool.
They get that little
I
epiphany
think-
moment and they
yeah,
feel really good about
players-
themselves.
I don't think players have ever been
I've
like.
never done that.
Because also this happens a lot. More generally, this happens a lot with music. Because I play a lot of video game music during my campaigns.
Dude.
Because it fits so well. Like they were built for video games, so
That's
if you
good,
play
yeah.
video game music, yeah.
This is advice for anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
If you need like a battle soundtrack, Divinity Original Sin 2. Best backing track to any fighting.
I have never played the game, but
That is like the best in
but,
terms of it.
So yeah, so in a campaign I'm in, the DM, right? He used a lot of video game music too, and he used a lot of stuff. But he once he played this like specific song, right? And I was like, I know this from somewhere, and I thought
It's
about
like
it for a little bit,
Megalovania.
and I was like, wait a minute.
That'd be good.
Sorry?
It's like Megalovania.
Yeah.
I've heard this somewhere.
He's like, the fight starts, and then like it's like never gonna give you up, and I'm like, I know this from
Oh
somewhere.
yeah.
Where
I
could
could have
this be?
sworn
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard this.
Wait, this is don't tell me The Weeknd.
Yeah, it's the weekend.
But like he played a song from like a game I really like, which is Hyper Light Drifter.
Oh, yeah.
And so he played like one of the Hyper Light Drifter soundtrack. And I was like, I know this. Like this is so cool.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
And I think players.
Hearthstone too. A lot of people like will use that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like tavern music.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
mean,
very good. Like if
It's
you're in a
great
tavern,
local ambience,
yeah.
but Divinity Original Sin 2, that's the battle music. Like that is like I've used it for so long now. It's just good.
no,
It's
no,
just
yeah,
good.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah, it's really good.
No, I think
agree.
actually, I think I wholeheartedly disagree that like, oh, if a player recognizes where you got an idea
I've
from,
never
it like
tried it, though.
cheapens the impact of it. I think it like makes it better because I think a lot of players like it's like a way exactly yeah. Wait a minute, that's Undertale. It's like a different way for them to engage with like the game, as it is.
Okay.
So wait, are you saying that everything you've ever thought of for D&D is completely original?
I try to be. If it is similar to something, that's complete coincidence.
No, I mean like
Unless it's like a joke
Yeah,
one
yeah.
shot. Like that'd be the only thing.
Okay, because like tonight I have a Tomb Raider adventure going on, and I'm just going to Indiana Jones them. Like
There you
they're
go, exactly. I mean, but think about it like this, right? So one of like the if we're going back in history, like okay, so
How far back can you go?
we're just talking about D&D here. We're not talking about any other like genre besides D&D and like high fantasy type stuff, right?
Okay.
If we trace back like where high fantasy came from, right? It's like ancient Western European like epics, right? This is like where it came from.
Like
And then it
Odysseus,
developed, it
or
became
like
the
what?
media, and then like you have Lord of the Rings, you have The Hobbit, you have all this stuff, and these are like the settlements of like what we mean when we say like epic fantasy, high
Right.
fantasy, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So
That's really what
you
D&D is
could
supposed
make
to
the
be.
argument every high fantasy campaign is Lord of the Rings. I mean, isn't it like genuinely a thing?
You
like
know what's
every,
crazy?
Every romance story,
I'm gonna break
every
your mind.
romance is Romeo and Juliet. Every single romance.
I've DM'd for 10 years.
Yeah.
I have yet to see any Lord of the Rings.
I'm sorry, you haven't seen any Lord of the Rings.
Anything.
Like you haven't read the books.
I just know about there's a ring and there's like
But
the
here's
Goblin
what I'm saying.
dude.
Here's what I'm saying. You did not like.
Okay, hold up.
Is there a bigger problem?
Name the Goblin dude right now.
Smeagol?
Okay.
Okay,
Is that him?
you pass.
Okay, that's all I need
You
to
get
know.
to live.
Okay.
You get to live.
The Goblin like Frodo right now. But so.
Okay, I guess I know
here's
two
the
guys.
thing.
I know-
What I'm saying
There
is
you
that
go.
like you were not like born and like were raised with like this conception of like, oh, this is what high fantasy is, or like this is what like an epic fantasy story like should.
talking about
look
me
like. Yeah, I'm talking about you
specifically?
specifically.
Oh.
Because like you didn't have that. This is not like an intrinsic thing that you came up with. This is like based on things that other people have produced of like media that has like come together and influenced your worldview. You know what I mean? So like even if it's like, oh, everything I produce is original, like everything is just like a deviation of everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
So like although the lines are blurred and although the quilt is pretty uniform, you look a little closely and it still is a hodgepodge. It still is, a terribly sewn together mix of ideas.
Good job, Azeez.
I like that. I like that. take.
Decomposing my worldview.
Yeah. No, but I mean like, this is a side note about. And I think another really interesting thing.
Welcome to WreckCast, where we watch
yeah.
Azeez ramble about.
Sorry, I am rambling. But I swear I'm gonna pose y'all a question. What do y'all think of using like AI to come up with ideas or art for a campaign? So like if I'm running a session and I'm like I don't have a dungeon and let me like ChatGPT like
Okay.
ChatGPT, what are some this is like my dungeon, this is the tone of my dungeon. What are some things I could put in here that might be interesting, that might be cool?
So going back a little bit, like to Roll20
Yeah.
and ChatGPT, it's a tool. As long as you understand that it's not right, do not make it right like your entire campaign.
Yeah.
And you use it for like names, because I suck at names. I need names.
Oh yeah, I suck at names, yeah.
So I use ChatGPT for names. If I like just need a town and I don't have one in mind, I'll
use
make it
Dungeon
generate
all
one.
the time.
Dungeon Draw, that's another good one.
Yeah.
So I would say ChatGPT is just another tool,
Yeah,
as
but
long
I
as you
would
use
say-
it in moderation.
Yeah, but what
because
if
too
I
much
did
I
is
don't
terrible.
use the exact idea. Like, I'll be like, that sounds cool, but like that doesn't really fit. So I'm gonna just morph it a little bit.
No, I agree with you. ChatGPT, at least for me, is definitely an inspiration. So, like recently, I was working on a Pantheon for like a separate world that I'm thinking of, and like
Was it West March?
it was on West March. This is a separate. I'm not working on the
Azeez is
Pantheon for
campus.
West March. But this is another world like I'm working on the side every so often. And like I needed like a god for like a specific thing, but I didn't like. I was like, man, I don't know like exactly like how I should form this. So I asked ChatGPT. I was like, hey, can you like
Make a pantheon.
yeah, not make a pantheon. Well, kind of, yeah. I was like, give me like a rough idea of like what this maybe could look like. And it had some really good ideas of like a circle of like.
But nothing
you know,
that
higher
really
position,
worked concretely.
like, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing that was like okay,
So
I
you
could
just
like rip this word for word and like throw
take
this
it
and it would work.
And you change some things, and then it just
Exactly.
works.
But like the question is then like I was talking earlier like all of my campaigns and ideas are like a quilted together like patchwork of other ideas that I've ripped.
Well,
like,
the original idea that you posed to ChatGPT
Yeah.
probably wasn't.
Well, I mean, I'm asking ChatGPT a broad question, like, okay, like, give me an interesting god, or like, give
Not
me
a
an
very
interesting
specific.
dungeon.
Okay.
But like, at this point, like, who am I ripping off of? Like, who am I stealing from? If like I ask ChatGPT for ideas and I use those, like, where's the source of this?
Well, it starts with you, but yeah,
It starts
I get
with me?
what you're
Yeah,
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is a thing I've thought about a lot when planning my campaigns.
Other than boy
Is
bands.
like who is behind these ideas? You know, like if I'm using ChatGPT.
Who's this guy behind the computer?
Yeah, like who's there's some guy at like the OpenAI
It's a
headquarters.
reflection,
is,
dude.
like, some guy at the OpenAI headquarters is like assigned to me, and every time I type in something, he's like, okay, I got it. Like, he pulls up Lord of the Rings and pages through, and he's like, all right, here we go. Like,
I'm in.
yeah,
I'm
like,
in.
I got it. Like the FBI agent behind every ChatGPT like answer, he's ready, he's waiting for me.
A single person assigned to every single person who uses
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Everyone's got
exactly.
their own agent.
Yes, sir.
It outnumbers us somehow, but
Yeah.
it is
That's
what
how it
is.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this is an interesting question as far as like art goes and like.
Oh
consider-
yeah. Well, honestly, I find it really hard to kind of incorporate like visual design into like a campaign for like when you paint a background with like saying what it is and like telling people like this setting and the mountains crest over this hill. and
Sorry, are we talking ChatGPT art?
Yeah, or
Well,
the
I was-
other
I was
AI
talking,
art.
I was talking very generally like art, including like ideas, visual art. Like so, if you use like Dolly or like Stable Diffusion to generate like a picture. of a
Well, I
character.
think it's great because some people just like kind of don't hang on the words I say when it's like painting a picture, but like when you use like an AI to be like, all right, I want a picture of this, this, and this, you can just pull it up and you're like, as the mountains, and it's just like it helps. I don't know. It's like
I
you're
mean,
more
yeah.
there.
No,
Because
this
it is just a tool to use.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
I
still the
definitely
world
agree
you
with that,
made.
because,
You're just
yeah,
giving it the
exactly.
information
I mean,
for it.
It's the same reason why like a lot of DMs like I use music very like I
Music
use
helps.
all sorts of music, and music is such a good mood setter.
Music
like,
makes
Yes.
it less awkward
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Like the silence is deafening.
Oh, the silence is deafening sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Although the silence can work in your favor, especially if it's like a tense moment. Like
If
you
it's
turn
a
off the music.
if it's a
and
scary
it's
D&D
just like,
campaign, yes.
It's just like you, the DM, like talking through an NPC, and like everything else is silent. You can really like you can get some crazy.
Yeah,
some
you really
crazy
can.
moments. You
You
can
really
get some really worthwhile moments. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot to be there.
I'm still hung up on character voices. What else do you have? What are the common Azeez character voices?
Because I mean like okay, so I've started. I've kind of gotten more and more into like human the voices for like humanoid entities. I like just describe a random nationality to them,
Okay.
and then I try to do that accent.
Oh God.
Exactly, but it's like it's really bad sometimes.
Yeah, I
So, like,
imagine.
You know, I
So
don't
like for instance, an Australian cowboy.
Yeehaw!
Wow.
No, you put it.
I'm there. I'm
Yeah.
so there. I'm practically
Oh,
there.
this is another thing
Your
that-
turn. Australian cowboy.
Oh, that looks like a a dingo to me.
Okay,
Yeah, see,
that was pretty good actually.
I have no clue.
I'm actually pretty good at
I have
character
absolutely no clue how accurate that is.
Oh, well,
But it's what you
doesn't matter.
imagine it
Exactly,
is.
it's what I imagine.
It's what you
It's my perception.
Yeah.
Okay, give me like, I walk into like an Eastern European castle. It is like Gothic. It
What
is
do you mean give you? You're
derelict-
saying it
no,
right
I'm
now.
describing, no, I'm describing, right? You walk into like, a castle that is Gothic, it is derelict, and like the king is like old, he's haggard, he's like
Okay.
lounging on the throne, like his castle's crumbling around him. And I walk up to him and I'm like, king, like, why are you here? Like, your entire kingdom has abandoned you and yet you sit here.
It's been ages since someone's come to visit. My castle is in ruins. This is cringe.
But you got the dialect of
Yeah.
it.
I was immersed, man.
You were there.
What about you, Ethan?
You were in the Fallen Kingdom
how
video?
are you with voices?
I'm not that good. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got like 3.
What's the go-to?
The go-to?
The go-to, because everyone has one. Mine's like,
Okay, so
hi, my name's Torin. It's my constant character voice that I do. I do this
Yeah,
one all the
no,
time.
my go-to is also like hello, like I'm
Hello.
a random stable master that you've met at this stable.
Do you need a sword, young man?
Yeah, and they're like, okay, like I want to talk to the shopkeeper, and like I haven't had the shopkeeper prepared. I'm like, hello, I am the shopkeeper of this fine establishment.
Who talks like that? Hello.
Yeah, nobody talks like, but it's like my go-to.
Well, like, what's the go-to for you?
So what always happens? You always make them fight something similar to a goblin, like as the first encounter. Then for some reason they keep one alive. Then you need a goblin voice. So the goblin voice. That's the one that you got the most. It's what you got. Everyone has one of these somewhere in there.
Just
3
It
idiots
would
going,
be so fun. I really want this episode of podcast just to eventually devolve into us being like,
we're there. That's all it is. I'm watching the Audacity file and I'm seeing that like
It's just spiking.
Sorry, go on.
With what? Oh, so every DM has a goblin voice. Even if you don't know you have one, you have one.
Yeah,
you just
you've been
haven't
there.
found it yet.
cherish it.
We should do that. We should have a goblin one-shot on this.
Yeah, let's have a goblin one-shot on the cast.
Goblin
Yeah,
one
I'm a
shot.
goblin.
Yeah.
My name is
Goblin
But yeah, this is deep.
Even Reed's doing goblin voices in the back. Reed, do your goblin voice. It might pick up.
Wow. Okay. No.
He just went like.
Honestly, though, goblins aren't very much known for being articulate. So honestly, he's probably the most realistic. It's more like they like hodgepodge all the words together.
Yeah.
There's like goblin talk. Or
But again,
something,
what if
right?
you have a hobgoblin player in your campaign?
That's like a deep voice.
That's still like
What's going on
it's
here?
like up
Yeah,
here, but
Yeah. I mean.
Oh.
yeah,
That's a bit
You know what I
higher.
mean?
Yeah, that's a bit
it's like
higher. I like
deep,
that.
but it's
But
high.
here's the thing.
Do
it's
that.
like up here.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've never tried to do that before.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah.
Do it one more time.
You know
I've
what
done it
changed-
for 10 years.
You know what changed
Sorry.
my voices?
It's a little hard, but like you can get there.
Yeah. You
Sounds
know
like Beetlejuice.
You know what changed? You know what changed my voices? I think for the better, was like learning linguistics or like a little bit about linguistics.
Really?
Yeah. So like between languages, right? There's this thing. So the question is like, so English has like a set of like sounds that like English
I
produces.
learned so
right?
much
Right.
with you on this
But like,
podcast.
for example, right? Like Spanish has a different set of sounds.
Yeah.
German has a different set of sounds. Japanese is a different set of sounds. How modern day we have classified these sounds is with something called the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. This is a chart.
I've drank one of those before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love him. Trey loves them. We'll have him on the cast in a little bit.
Drum cats.
Yeah, that would be a terrible idea.
No, we could.
We're already devolving into goblin voices. Trey. You want to do that while the
Imagine
inebriated?
that, but inebriated.
I also I've never had alcohol, but
This is true.
so what was I? Oh, the IPA International Phonetic Alphabet. Basically, it like charts and categorizes like every like or not every because there are a lot of sounds that they're very exotic, but like sounds of like major languages, right? Like every like sound that could be produced. Vowels
Oh,
and
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
I've seen that
Yes.
before.
So-
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
I have not seen
Oh,
this.
that's
the
what you're
IPA
saying. So
the
like learning
IPA
other languages,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
opens up like what you can do.
Not
Yeah,
even
no,
other
that's
languages,
100%
but
right.
not even other languages, but the set of
Specific
human
phonetic
sounds.
sounds you can make with your
so
mouth.
Like,
Yeah.
So like in French and German, there exists a sound. This is the French and German letter R. It doesn't sound like a r or like a r that we have in English.
Ruh.
It's like a ch. It's like a ch. Yeah. So like if you ever seen like a
There it is.
Yeah.
Reed's
Reed's
got
the
it
IPA
pulled up.
We
It'll
can
probably
pull
be
up
up here.
that.
Yeah.
But
Look
the
at it. Thank you, Reed.
What is this?
yes. So yeah, this is the IPA. This is the consonants.
Right.
And the consonants are ordered.
We'll have this up here for you guys so you can
The
see what I'm looking
consonants
at.
are ordered from where they originate in the mouth to the throat. So it starts with bilabial. Bilabial is the lips. So as you can see, it's like pa, ba, ma. These are bilabial sounds.
Huh.
And then glottal is all the way down here. It's glottal stops.
What is okay? What is
A
that?
glottal stop. There is one.
Is it
line-
like Mongolian throat singing kind
no,
of? No.
No. There is a glottal stop in English. Think about when you say uh-oh. You go
Uh-oh.
This is a stop that's back here. Like you stop and it's back here. Like that end vowel sound, like that consonant, like the it's down here. Like you're stopping it.
I'm sorry, this is not good
This is
content.
the deepest. Yeah, the glottal stop. This is sorry. I'm just like I'm.
No, this
segueing.
is actually pretty interesting.
But yeah, everybody go uh-oh.
Hey, send me a copy of that later.
I know. I'll send you. There's an interactive IPA website.
Oh, really? Where you can make a
find
sound
their-
and, like-
yeah. So they're completely free to use. So this isn't like a but interactive IPA where the IPA chart and you can click on where every sound is and you can hear it like somebody pronouncing
That's
it.
cool.
But yeah, so like
So D&D, right?
Like,
No, this is valid.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
very valid.
right. That's like this is the glottal. But sorry, talking about D&D. So the IPA has also changed how I view a lot of accents. For example, the IPA classifies vowels based on like where in the mouth they originate from the front or the back. Also, how rounded they are. So whether your lips are rounded when you say this. Think about like E versus like E. Like that's the same thing, but your lips are rounded.
No surprising amount about this.
And then also,
How many hours have you put into this?
well, I love linguistics and I like common
and yet your
language
character
construction
voices still suck.
Yeah, because I'm terrible.
You're fine.
Um,
It's better than most.
For example, a British accent, like a higher British accent, right?
Let's hear it.
In English, in like American English, we say me, and the ending vowel is a very front, unrounded vowel. Me, right? E is a front, unrounded vowel.
Okay.
If you take this vowel and you push it back a little bit, so instead of me, it's like me, me. British speakers, instead of saying me, they have what's called a diphthong, which is when you combine two vowel sounds in one. It's basically like, if you think about it, a diphthong is like, if you go like house. You don't, house, like the ow, like ow, that's like two vowel sounds, that's a
Right.
diphthong. So British speakers will, when they say me, they won't say me, they'll have a diphthong where they start lower and they come up higher. So they go like, may. So it'd be like, oh, like, it's for May.
It's May.
It's for May.
It's for May.
Yeah, it's for May.
It's for May.
And that is a diphthong
I
that
gotcha.
appears in like.
Oh no,
British
that's super
accents.
helpful actually.
Exactly. This
Oh,
appears in, sorry,
you're
it took-
blowing my mind right
it
now.
took a lot of
The
explanation-
building blocks of knowledge.
It took a lot of explanation to get here.
May.
But
Oh my
British-
God, I can do that now.
British speakers, yeah, they have
There's
like,
other things they
this
do.
is a trend where if in English, in American English, where it would have been like a flat, unrounded E, they push that back a little bit, meh, and then they roll that into an E, like may.
So
May.
do you actually try and think about this before you make a character voice?
I don't think about this while I'm doing a voice, but just learning
Yeah,
about
it
it, like
seems
it really,
hard.
because like now when I'm
Because you're
doing,
trying to like figure
yeah.
out like is there
Yeah,
time
yeah.
where you're just like, all right, I can get this accent because I know like what.
Well, it's
phenomenons
like when you
that
learn
we
about this, so
generally
like
use.
now when I try to do like a British accent, I know that like when I do the E sound, I can turn it into like an A, and
May.
like that adds it like it's a little more accurate.
It adds to the
yeah,
voice.
Exactly, it adds to the voice. But no, there's a lot of cool things. Another favorite one of mine is the caught merger. So two different words, right? Caught, C-O-T,
Caught.
and another word, caught, C-A-U-G-H-T.
Yes.
These are technically, phonemically, in like the English language, these are different vowels. Like caught and caught. Ah and
I'm not following anymore.
Like, so it's hard for me to do because I have this problem.
Caught.
In
caught.
a lot of, I think it's a lot of like Western and Central American dialects, these two sounds will become the same exact vowel. And I do this. I say caught and caught the exact same.
Because you just said the same word.
Yeah, no.
Well, it sounds
C-O-T,
the
C-O-T,
Oh,
like a caught
okay,
you sleep
okay.
in.
C-A-U-A-U-G-A,
Yeah, C,
whatever. I
and, so
can
yeah,
spell.
caught
We
like
get
a caught you sleep in, and C-A-U-G-H-T, like caught like I catch
the
something, like I
phonetics
caught something.
episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have this.
Caught.
I have this issue.
Oh,
where
yeah, I know
For
what you're
me,
saying.
so I speak like pretty American English, right? For me,
Really?
in my accent, yeah, crazy, right?
I didn't
In
know
my
that.
accent, I say caught and caught the exact same. Like caught and caught, this is the same vowel for me. But a lot of people don't do this. It's different for them.
I caught a bear in a caught.
Yeah, I caught.
Yeah,
a
it's like
bear in a
elongated.
caught. I caught a bear in a cot.
I caught a bear in a cot.
Yeah, I caught a bear in a cot.
Caught a
yeah.
bear in a
exactly.
cot.
So this caught merger is even more it's even more exemplified. And I think, and I may be wrong about this. I hope nobody that knows about linguistics will call me out here.
I hope
in
they do.
like
Do it.
in northeastern
Please do.
accents, so like New York,
New
like
York?
Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. This is even more, sometimes more pronounced, where they'll have these diphthongs and these monophthongs.
You know, actually, here's my best advice. If you want an easy Scottish accent,
Yeah.
you know the best thing you can say to like just put yourself in there?
Yeah.
What?
Great googly moogly. And you're there. Like you can talk like it. Like I'm serious, go for it. It's weird.
Hey.
See, I told you.
Great googly moogly. I'm in there and I like it. Oh my God, why is this continuing?
Yeah.
I'm
Wow,
so
that's a
sad.
good intro.
All of our Scottish audience for RECON has just left. They're out the door.
I'm so
at this
sorry.
point. They're-
But,
Bye,
like,
guys.
This is okay.
Every time I need to like do a Scottish accent for D&D,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
say it in my head.
Oh my God,
and
I cannot wait.
there.
If y'all are watching this podcast in full, you are the best. I love you. But what I'm going to do is on our social medias, I'm going to take little snippets of all of us.
Great googly
Yeah, and then
moogly.
say, you want to do a Scottish accent? Great googly moogly.
Just out of context, it sounds so
And
wrong.
this is going to be posted everywhere. Trey.
Great,
I'm going to post
great.
it everywhere. on
My
podcast.
reputation
Yeah.
ruined.
I'm gonna post
I'll
it
never be
everywhere on
hired
podcast,
by
yeah.
Scotland in their aerospace programs.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm finished with talking about linguistics
The
now.
phonetics are done
Yeah,
with.
phonetics are crazy, and it really helps you. If you don't know
Scotland's
what the
been
IPA is,
destroyed.
if you're ever trying to learn a language and you're struggling with pronunciation, or like you're
It's
struggling with like, oh, I don't sound like how I want to sound. I sound like I have like a very heavy accent. Search up the IPA, learn the IPA. It will help you so much.
And honestly, just hearing accents.
Exactly,
Like,
just hearing
experience.
accents, yeah.
Like honestly,
Yeah.
just watching like a D&D podcast, like Matt Mercer's great. Like a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
voice actor.
So-
He has a lot of the same ones,
Yeah.
but like if you really just kind of like branch out into like different podcasts, some people got some good ones, and they kind of like you can tell what they're saying a lot better than some people. But anyway, we're gonna keep talking, but that's probably gonna be it for part one of the RECCast here with Ethan, D&D representative. So tune in for another episode.
Yeah,
of
we'll be
this.
posting highlights and specific sections of the podcast to our YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's like a
our
new
social
update.
medias later. So if you're interested in something specific, feel free to check those out.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, guys.
yeah, for
Where
sure.
can we find the D&D Club?
The D&D Club, yes, this is true.
Oh, yeah.
Everything happens on our Discord.
We have a
Visit our
Discord server.
Discord,
There'll
our
be a
engage
link,
page.
some engage page. That's also good.
Engage page, link. If you search up D&D GT, our engage page is gonna pop up with a Discord on there.
Just look up Georgia Tech Engage, you'll get it in your
Or, no, honestly, you just,
search engine.
You guys should have tinyurl.com/gtdnd.
we're gonna have time. So
Good
yeah,
idea.
if you visit
That's a really good idea.
if you visit tinyurl / GT D&D, I think is it.
It'll be on
and
the
yeah,
link.
you'll see our links there to our socials and our Discord.
We'll just put it in the link of the episode.
Everything happens on
There we go.
There you
Membership.
go.
Yeah, you know anybody can join, no experience required. We have a lot of cool stuff. We do game nights. We have a new club-wide
Oh, yeah, you're
campaign
both-
starting
you're
up
both
now.
part-
West
Anybody
March,
is free to join West
right?
Marches. It's very fun. Feel free to join. Feel free to pop on by, play some D&D.
Look forward to having you.
Yeah, we don't just do D&D, of
Or
course.
don't.
We do a lot of tabletops.
Not just high fantasy. We do a lot of cyberpunk, some space horror. Modern day medieval stuff.
And even stuff at
all sorts of
RECCon,
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
also do stuff at RECCon.
which, if you want free tickets,
But
check
yeah,
that out.
cool. Yeah, check us out, GT D&D. Thank y'all for
And
watching.
DG RECCon.
See ya.
Yeah, the T is for me.